Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Well, a lot of you owe Judd Zulgad, the sports dad, an apology for questioning his instincts on this yesterday. Questioning whether he's being a fearmongerer and a glass half empty person. Kevin O'Connell just spoke to the media, including Judd, and JJ McCarthy is going to undergo knee surgery. He will not make the trip to Cleveland for the joint practices this week or for the second preseason game. He has a meniscus injury, and they're going to get in and do some exploratory. They're going to get in essentially and determine whether they do the short-term or the long-term meniscus surgery, correct?
Yes. They can do the full repair, which probably is 3 to 6 months, or they can do a trim, which is shorter time span. And I'm not a doctor, but I'll play one. If you guys recall when Adrian Peterson tore his meniscus early in, was it the 16 season against the Packers? They could have done the trim on it, but they were concerned about long-term effects because it doesn't clean it up completely or something. Now, I do believe Karl Anthony Towns had the trim done, the short-term repair done, and he came back to play. So
he's also like in his late 20s, right, and as a big man, probably not looking to play another 10 years on it, right?
We're dealing with a 21-year-old kid who is absolutely your future, and I think if there's any doubt, the doctors are going to err on the side of, hey, he's out longer, but when he comes back, unfortunately for off-season workouts probably then, next year, it's going to be fully healthy. O'Connell said he was injured in the game. They don't know when. It sounds like he never complained about it. Came in on Monday and said it hurt after the day off on Sunday.
Yeah, so I mean, you could go back and look at any number of sudden movements in the pocket or a couple plays where he took off and ran. Yeah. But so what we know that he has a meniscus injury. We know that he is at least going to be on the shelf because he's having at minimum the trim surgery, which according to most athletes in the NFL and NBA and baseball that get that surgery, it's a 4 to 6 week recovery. Sometimes with Karl Anthony Towns, it was closer to like 8, 10, 12 weeks, if I remember correctly, a year ago. So no matter what, he is not going to be ready. He's not going to play the rest of the preseason. He's not going to be ready for week 1. Sam Darnold, barring injury, is unofficially your week 1 starter. And now the question just remains, does JJ McCarthy get the short-term surgery and he's available then sometime during the season? Yep. Or do you just say, for a couple different reasons, hey, it's been a fun summer. We're always going to have that first preseason game against the Raiders. You made some incredible impressions on teammates and fans and media and coaches.
Right.
But let's have a long-term view on this thing and let's focus on 2025.
And so O'Connell did say they do not know. So I don't know if it's like an ACL where there's swelling that has to subside before surgery can be done. But O'Connell said there has been no date set. So they definitely are taking this. It's not going to be like they're going to Cleveland and he's going to have the surgery performed. We don't know what the surgery is going to be, as we just talked about. We don't know when it's going to be. And I think the one question is this: how much value? So when the surgery's done, he comes back to the Vikings facility, obviously, and rehabs. And how much value, and the answer could be a lot, does he get from just being able to be behind the scenes, film work, be around the team? Now, obviously, he's not necessarily going to be, for a while, getting reps, but, we're talking about you're out potentially with the full surgery for a lengthy period of time from playing in games. When can you get back on the field? Just to practice? I don't know. But, I mean, this feels awful because, damn, it just sucks. But that being said, I don't know that the season, it's not like it would be a complete loss if you feel that you can get him prepped and to be fully healthy for training camp next year. Because, I mean, I think the goal would still very much for him to be the starter in 2025. So the only thing that might go away here if he does have the full surgery is the potential that he could get into games in 2024 probably.
Yeah. By the way, and I know you were just on this press conference call here. I'm just going to read a couple quotes from Kevin O'Connell. So it's they're going to get in, they're going to do the operation, and then they're going to decide essentially once they do the operation whether it's a smaller tear and they can do the cleanup or whether it's a full. Right. And O'Connell said, what's best for the long-term health of JJ McCarthy will be the priority. So I would think if there's any gray area or question, they opt for the long-term surgery and the long-term recovery here.
Yep.
And, I don't know, to give you guys a silver lining, at least this makes the transition much more clean cut, because we've had all these discussions about when do you throw him into the fire? Could he start week 1? Does it make sense to wait a little bit? What if Darnold's playing really well, but you want to get JJ some reps in the regular season? And this might just make it really clean. Sam Darnold he gets the entire spotlight in 2024 as a reclamation project. Maybe you can build up his value and get a comp pick when he leaves in free agency. And then you can turn the organization over to JJ McCarthy in 2025.
I think the thing here too is, and I hate to say this because it's being optimistic, and like with knees in this town or injuries in this town, it's been hard to like be okay. This is going to be it. But if he's going to miss the year, but still be behind the scenes and learn a ton and mature and develop, which I think is possible, it's far better it happens now than a year from now. Like you have, the one thing that the Vikings have going for them, and by the way, this probably lands O'Connell a contract extension and Kwesi perhaps for sure, because now the gloves are off. If Sam Darnold couldn't lead you to 12 wins, but if JJ McCarthy can be the starting quarterback next year and learned, then this year's not a loss. Like if this was 25 and it's like, okay, it's go time for McCarthy, he's expected to start and now he can't play.
Yeah.
That's a huge blow. So I think that there still can be some good done, provided this is not the beginning of knee problems. And ordinarily I wouldn't even broach that, but in this town, I feel that it would be dereliction of duty, not to at least say there is a warning here.
It is a classic Minnesota sports thing. It's just constantly over and over and over. We are the roadrunner with the anvil being dropped on our head. And again, I don't want to make this worse than it is. This is not an Achilles tear. This is not the Teddy Bridgewater injury where his life was in danger on the practice field back in 2016. This might even just be a quick cleanup surgery and he's ready to rock and roll as the backup quarterback in the middle of September. But it's just, of course, it's just a thing. It can't just be a smooth sailing development where he gets to go to Cleveland and play another game. Like there's always got to be some dumb speed bump with these teams.
Yeah, it's like if this was like Bo Nix or something, right? You're like, okay, the Broncos are experiencing that. But it's not. It's the Vikings. And what's really baffling is, and this is why I feared it, the meniscus injury is often one that comes back to bite you in the butt like a day after a game, right? Like and I am not wishing that he did, but ordinarily there are a lot of knee injuries that you suffer that's like, okay, that's when it happened. This we don't even know. Was he rolling out and something went wrong? Was he but I will say this. My observation is JJ McCarthy is a pretty tough customer. So I don't think that this was like bailing out and saying, oh, my knee hurts a bit. I think he clearly did something that hurt a lot.
Yeah. So that's the news. I don't know how long this episode's going to be. Of course, we just literally recorded and posted an episode where we went through Judd's camp notes and we led for 15 or 20 minutes about the potential severity of this injury and what it could mean. And I went back through your tweet from last night too. And a lot of people dunking on you for Wolves. Yeah. The coach said it was routine soreness, and Judd, using his 2-3 decades worth of knowledge covering the NFL, said something about the way he delivered that message felt a little off, like maybe they're hiding something or they're not quite sure. And apologize to Sports Dad. Your instincts were right on this one.
Kevin O'Connell also said routine soreness, but then he said we don't know exactly.
Yeah.
See, ordinarily, my experience with knees in sports is the doctors have an immediate diagnosis often, but they're not going to tell you that until they do the examination. So the way O'Connell was sort of down in the dauber and delivering the news, I think that they knew this, but they hadn't confirmed it yet. And so you're not going to confirm it to us until it's confirmed by the doctors. I remember one time I was at the combine in Indy, and you'll be shocked. I was at the hotel bar after a long day of work, and I was sitting by two of the Vikings doctors at the time. And if you guys recall, it was the game that Purdue was playing. Robbie Hummel tore his ACL against the Gophers
For like the fourth time.
at Williams Arena. Yes.
He was 29 years old playing his senior year.
Yep. And he literally, so the doctors are to my left, and Hummel lands on the court and collapses or cripples down in pain. And instantaneously, the guy goes, ACL.
Yeah, because they know.
They know. Yeah, that's the thing is they know. Mm-hmm. They know. So when O'Connell's like, we don't know exactly yet, but there's more testing to be done. The more testing is not to determine what the problem is, it's to confirm the problem. So that's why I was suspicious. And I will go back to, I'm not happy. This sucks. This absolutely stinks. This is, nobody benefits by this kid, including our show, by this kid being out. This was one of the most exciting things. I love to talk about it. Watching him on Saturday was fantastic. Yeah, he threw a pick. Who cares? He also put on a display that was incredibly impressive. Watching him in practice was great. This bleeping stinks on many levels.
If he's out for the season, let's say they opt for the bigger surgery, the full-on meniscus repair surgery, how much ground does he lose by not getting the reps? I mean, once they get into the regular season, if Darnold's the starter, Darnold's going to get a lot of reps week to week as you're preparing. It's not like you're just going to get all the reps as a backup between week 1 and week 2 when you're trying to win football games.
That's true.
So how much value is lost in him physically not being able to practice and play in these preseason games and regular season versus the value of still being around the team and in the quarterback room and film study and all that stuff?
My question is, how much can you still gain? Because, I don't think it's like, once they close the practices and begin to prepare for the Giants game, you're right. Like, they're not going to be like, okay, we're still going to split the reps. It's going to be all Sam. And then JJ would get the second team reps or thereabouts, but those are not plentiful. So I guess my question is, how much can he still gain? Because there for sure are things to be gained. He's also a smart dude. So like mentally he can gain a ton. So yeah, if this would be, if you think this show's a downer, if this was a year from now, it would be a real downer because you'd be like, that was supposed to be your quarterback. Yeah. Kudos. The Vikings did a very good job. It was, as a contingency plan, but going out and getting Darnold was the right move. We knew that. Now it's sort of hammered home because if they had said, okay, we're going to let McCarthy compete and Nick Mullins is our guy, we would be staring down the barrel of Nick Mullins starting against the Giants. And I'm sorry. I know he's fun to watch because he does not really care about where the football goes. He just throws hard, but that would not be good.
It just stinks. By the way, JJ McCarthy sent out a tweet just like 5 minutes ago saying, love you, Vikings Nation. I'll be back in no time. And then Amora Fati, which is Latin for like love or faith and love and whatnot. I think it really to answer the question of, what does this mean for him not being able to practice and stuff? The NFL is just such a cutthroat league, and I still think the Vikings are a better version than what they were last year with the Nick Mullins and the Jaron Halls and Josh Dobbs experience. But it's just such a cutthroat league that him not being able to practice for however long this could be, whether that's 8 weeks or the entire season, I think that does put a little, not a stunt, but it does make you pause a little bit because the NFL is always trying to evolve and you got owners and teams that are trying to make sure you get success immediately, and having your rookie quarterback who's supposed to be the future and basically locking in KOC and Kwesi for years to come, and him not being able to practice for not being able to practice and contribute for a significant amount of time. I do think that is a huge bummer for everyone involved, not just JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
I think the question is, does it alter his career negatively? Like, it's obviously a bummer and a buzzkill. Now I could find you examples like, it's not quite apples to apples, but Joe Burrow tore his ACL during his rookie season.
Yeah, true.
Came back the next year. Bengals went to the Super Bowl in 2021. Joe Burrow was the Associated Press Offensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
Led the league in completion percentage, yards per attempt, had a 108.3 passer rating. Now, Joe Burrow was 24 years old as a rookie. He was 3 years older, had just more experience, life, and quarterbacking, and played 10 regular season games for that bad Bengals team before getting hurt in the 10th one. So there is a huge difference between playing one preseason game versus playing 10 regular season games and then jumping right back into it in your second year and being 25 years old versus being 21, 22 years old. But
I think he'll be fine, and I think he'll learn a ton. And Declan is not wrong. It might adversely impact him a little bit short term. I think today, unfortunately, is more about Vikings fans. Like, that's the bummer here. That's the bummer. Because now you're potentially like the excitement of watching the kid in the preseason was awesome. That was fun. We haven't seen that in how long. Mm-hmm. So I think ultimately JJ McCarthy will be fine. And if he was going to have a great career, he still will. That's not the point today. I think the point is the fans. And like you said, Phil, before, when does it end? It's ridiculous. I mean, now Buxton's hurt and it might be bad news. Like Correa's out. Kirk got hurt as the Vikings were actually starting to roll last season. I feel for the fan base here. And it's nobody's fault. It's not like the teams are doing it, but it stinks.
I prefer to put a positive spin on it, all right? The Twins, despite the injuries, are still fighting for potentially the best record in the American League. The Timberwolves are one of the best teams in the entire NBA with Anthony Edwards.
Put him in bubble wrap, please.
Yeah, if he could just kind of chill for like the next 2 months until training camp. But with the Vikings, maybe this is a clear path now for the Darnold defenders. Those of us who've been in hiding, who've been shamefully hopeful about the former number 3 overall pick, who got stuck with the Jets and the Panthers in these crappy situations. And so to me, like, there's been this undercurrent of, JJ McCarthy is the future and he is the headline and he's the most interesting thing. But those of us Darnold defenders have been sitting here in the shadows wondering, I wonder what this guy could look like throwing to Justin Jefferson and Kevin O'Connell's tutelage. And now the path is clear to watch that happen, if only for a year.
So how do you feel about the clip from the night practice last night where Darnold throws the pass, Van Ginkel picks it and scores? Are you a Darnold defender or a Van Ginkel fanatic? How do you feel about this? How are you weighing these two?
As you know, being in that stadium, it's not fair. The lights were turned up way too bright. You can barely see the receivers running routes.
Okay.
It was. By the way, also I heard Sam Darnold was given 2 left shoes for practice, and
Van Ginkel had the correct shoes on.
Oh. Yeah, it's I see a lot of people lamenting in the comment section here, and it is. But again, he didn't tear his Achilles. He's not, in the case of Kirk, whatever hope the Vikings had drummed up digging out from that 1-4 hole, you're watching the first half of that Packers game, and oh my God, they're thrashing the Packers on the road. Kirk is playing lights out. They're about to get back to 500. Boom, Achilles out for the season, and then you also knew that his contract was up, and it just kind of felt like the end of a competitive era of Vikings football. I mean, I didn't think they were going to win a Super Bowl, but it felt like the end of something.
Absolutely.
This still feels like the beginning of something, even if JJ McCarthy is out for the season.
Oh, yeah.
It's just we're just going to have to delay gratification on it. This is not going to be a career-altering injury in the way that Teddy Bridgewater, when that happened.
Oh, it was over.
You kind of knew.
Yeah.
Oh, he may never play again.
Not even close.
And it was a miracle that he became a backup again.
This is just short-term disappointment because you took the new car out for a ride on Saturday and it was beautiful, and then some dumbass just hit you from behind at the stoplight, and the car's not ruined, but it ain't the car that you just took out on Saturday because now it's got to go to the body shop.
Yeah. By the way, if that happens, you should call Nicolay Law. If you've been in an accident, you really should.
I like it.
If you've been in an accident or you've been injured unexpectedly, call our guy Russ. Russell the Muscle Nicolay is here to help you. Nicolay Law, very proud to serve the communities that they live in around the Twin Cities. They're just normal folks who love a football game. You probably see them walking around at the gas station. You don't even know that they're from Nicolay Law, but you'll find out that they have law degrees and they're here to help you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay. You can start your path to winning, nicolaylaw.com, or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY.
So there's a question on here from Mark Phil that asks about the turf, because there were problems the last couple of years, of course, with the turf at U.S. Bank Stadium. In fact, there it is. The turf at U.S. Bank Stadium is brand new. So if this is a turf problem, they got a new turf problem.
Yeah, so this is the first year of the new turf.
The old
right?
turf graded out very poorly because guys were being hurt left and right, and so I think if I'm not mistaken, the Players Association complained, so the Vikings put in new turf. So this was not the same turf.
Yeah,
I'm not absolving it.
Yeah, I want to clarify here. Dean Mortensen, I don't know if this is directed to us or directed to commenters, but Dean says, "Quit making it sound worse than it is. You truly don't know." No, we know this. We know he has a meniscus injury. We know at minimum JJ McCarthy is out for 4 to 6 weeks if it's the minor surgery, which means he will not be getting any reps preseason, joint practice, regular practice. His reps are done between now and the regular season. And once the regular season starts, it's not as much hands-on. You're not doing these full 2-hour like padded practices and stuff. So like he is going to miss a lot of meaningful work. He will not be the starter week 1. Like those are facts at this point. If he opts for the long-term surgery, he's out for the season. But in either case, I think we've been pretty clear here. This does not derail the career of a 21, going to be 22-year-old. It's just delayed gratification.
No.
That's what we're looking at here.
And also, as much as I love the people who consume our show, and they're great. In fact, I heard a few sports dads yelled last night at the stadium, and I appreciate that. I guess we need to remind them, or not all people, we need to remind some of the audience again that we're going to talk about the truth. Like there's places that you can get the Pollyanna completely. And it's not that we're going to dump on the Vikings or say that it's going to be the end of the world, but there is a conversation here that involves he could miss the entire year. And there's also a conversation about what he can learn then. It feels like sometimes people come to us and think, okay, these guys are good. These guys drink the Kool-Aid as much as everybody drinks the Kool-Aid.
We try to deal in truth and honesty here on the show.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets us in trouble with portions of the fan base that disagree or maybe would rather have smoke blown up their ass. This can simultaneously be two things. It's bad in the short term because it prevents McCarthy from continuing to immediately get better and ride this wave. It's bad for fans who had a blast watching him throw darts all over the field on Saturday.
Yep.
But it also could be good that there's now a very clear path to a redshirt freshman year. Sam Darnold gets to step in and maybe salvage his career. And I think, as I've said for months, I think there's a there with Sam Darnold. And I saw the Ringer NFL account tweeted, someone check on Justin Jefferson. Sam Darnold has been great with Justin Jefferson throughout the entire preseason, the practices.
This Justin Jefferson stuff too. Can we just
someone check on him? Oh yeah, I'm checking on him. He's catching 200 yards worth of footballs from Nick Mullins last December.
He's gonna leave if Kirk leaves. That now he's gonna be down. He didn't get. I believe my final Judd's camp notes have so far like 2 passes from McCarthy to Jefferson.
Right.
Jefferson wasn't working with him. There's no check. Oh my God, we had such a good connection. I'm sure he's excited about it, and the future could be bright, but the future's still bright. But this notion that, they were working together. No, they didn't work. JJ McCarthy took about 4 first-team snaps in all of camp, and he took none on Saturday. So let's get past this. Justin Jefferson, we treat him like he's this fragile, egomaniac receiver. And by the way, they're out there. This guy's not one of them.
Agreed. This dude literally put up 1,000 yards in a half season last year with Nick Mullins throwing him most of the passes down the stretch. He's going to be fine with Sam Darnold.
Amen.
The chemistry's been there. So, all right, any final thoughts? Any final comforting words for the Purple Daily audience?
Hang in there,
fans?
folks. Hang in there. Phil's right. It's not going to end. I mean, his career's fine. It's a temporary setback. I think we all are a bit forlorn about this because the timing stinks. We were looking forward to seeing JJ in the joint practices on Saturday. I think this will be absolutely fine long run. But it is just another Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill, right? And it's a Buxton rock. And then so I understand your dismay today.
Judd dropping forlorn and Sisyphus pushing a rock up a hill in the same commentary.
Good words there. Yeah, it sucks. Like be upset, be bummed out. I think that's fine. This is definitely a gut punch and a low blow news, especially after the game he was having. And even though it was fun to pontificate if, hey, is he actually even going to start week 1 or will he start after the bye week? This part does stink. Like, it's okay to kind of bask in this right now too.
Yeah. Darnold defenders, assemble.
Well,
the bandwagon has space.
Hey, you know what?
The water's warm. Come on in.
It's on now. Sam Darnold is, and he was before, but you talk about being in a prime position to get a multi-year millions of dollar contract. It's on.
You want a conspiracy theory? I heard Sam Darnold threw a couple of banana peels on the turf yesterday.
Oh no.
That's what I heard.
On Saturday.
Sorry. I heard,
went over on the bench
I heard
and
Sam
patted
Darnold's
McCarthy
in on it.
on the knee really hard. Great job, JJ. Boom, boom. And that was like, my knee hurts.
What are Liv and Stabler doing at TCO right now? They're investigating on what the hell happened on the turf.
No, it's just Liv now.
That's right.
Just Liv. Every show's about Liv now. I quit watching the show. It's become the Mariska hour. What's my latest issue?
All right. Never a dull day to be a masochistic fan of this Vikings football team.
Well put.
This is Purple Daily. Daily Vikings buzzkill information. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. Darnold defenders, your time is now.
Hold on to your meniscus.